All right, boom. So
We're here.
we're here. Um, what was I saying? Also, I was coaching a lady who was hearing impaired, right? And we predominantly communicated in sign language, right? In New Zealand sign language over here in obviously New Zealand. And you kind of become a little bit more aware of it, right? As you're then coaching through it and you can communicate and you're learning and you're okay, cool. And then I actually go around and I'm like, if I was completely deaf, I would feel totally alienated. Like no one knows sign. I think it's the third national language of the country, and there's like 6,000 people that know it out of nearly 5 million. Like it's not even a percentage. You know what I mean? It's like the probability of you running into one of those people who know sign language is fucking so slim. And it's a shame, man. You know, because you are um creating an exclusive environment and an exclusive society of these like quote unquote, and I hate using the term, but people are going to understand when I say it, normal people, right?
Yeah.
And you're just like, wait. Like diversity is normal. Like fucking
Yeah.
differences is normal. Like you take a human being, like their DNA is going to be slightly different. All right, sound. So then how do we create an inclusive environment rather than fucking exclusive?
People are so focused on identity politics, and it's about gender and skin color. But like, can we back up a minute? The disabled community is still excluded, and we make up 15% of the world's population.
Fuck me.
There's still places here in the United States that I can't get into the business itself because it's just not accessible. I can't get into a bathroom. They build new homes, and the new homes always have extravagant stairs and lifts, and the bathroom doors are still too narrow. Buying a home is a nightmare to try and find one that has an accessible bathroom that I don't have to update. I mean, like, the world is not inclusive to people with disabilities. And it's just this crazy, like I said, this gender politics, this skin color politics. Like, let's back up a minute. Can we include the disabled community in that conversation before you start like nitpicking on these small details of a human being? What about this whole entire population of human beings?
Hmm.
um it's unreal, and that's why I truly believe that it starts with our kids. Our kids are vocal. They, when they see something wrong or they see something different, they're inquisitive about it. They want to know, they want to learn more. So imagine if we taught our youth the disability civil rights movement. This is how disabled people come. They're literally just like you and me. You can acquire a disability at any time in your life. You could have friends with disabilities. They're no different. They just live life a little different. Like, why aren't we teaching that? Why aren't we teaching that level of inclusivity? Oh, because we don't truly want inclusivity.
Well, true inclusivity wouldn't make dollars, right? You know what I mean?
It's a money game, man. And it's crazy that there's a monetary value on the price of life, and in somebody living a full inclusive life of being able to partake in society. There's a
So
value on that.
here's a little story. So I was looking at opening a gym, right? With a business partner of mine. I would have just been the brawn, so to speak, and he would have been the cash flow behind it, right? And we were looking around, like, okay, cool, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, a big one for me is we need disability access and disability bathrooms, right? Including showers. Um, because I love coaching everybody and I want that environment. And that's just always been close to my heart, whether it's socioeconomic differences, whether it's gender or race differences, whether it's like able, disabled differences, or hearing impaired, deaf, or whatever it is, like blind. I'm like, no, everyone is welcome in my fucking space because the Bible is going to weigh 20 kilos regardless, right? So I'm like, cool, I'm going to treat everybody the same as the Bible would. And he's like, do we need that? I'm like, what are we trying to do here, bro? Are we trying to create inclusive excellence? Oh yeah, everyone's welcome, blah, blah, blah. I was like, cool. So then we fucking need it. So oh, it's going to cost more money. I was like, no shit. You know,
That's the name of the game.
you trip on a curb in modern society, mate, in a Western world, and you've got a fine. You know what I mean? Everything costs money, man. You got to get over it.
Preach it. Preach it. The people don't realize that if you invest in human beings, those human beings will produce way more in return that investment for you. We have to invest in empowering and uplifting one another. thoroughly and authentically, not some bullshit. I'm just investing to make myself feel better bullshit.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
like
yeah.
you have to truly be invested in another human's success and support them and be there for them and make them put that belief in them that they can accomplish whatever it is they want to accomplish. But if you meet them with resistance right out the gate of saying, you know what, it's too expensive to make this inclusive. You know what, we just can't do this. We can't make this happen. That is immediately driving a wedge in there, and then you lose their trust.
That means everybody walks around with a dollar sign above their head with a monetary value, right? And you're saying what a life has a fucking monetary value. I was like, how did we get to here? Like it's sad, man.
Greed, man. Greed is a real problem, and people don't realize how much it truly controls our human to human interactions. There's so much fakeness in this world because it's all about that status and the
Mm,
and gaining. What can I gain from you? What can I gain from you? But wait a minute. Human interaction is supposed to be a value exchange. We should be able to take something from the energy that we're giving. It's always a value exchange, but it's not always a value exchange because people don't often look at it like that. It's like, what can I get out of this situation? What can I get out of this? What can I get? It's all about I, and it's like, hey, wait a minute. There's a whole population of people. If we are about us and the more people we uplift, the further we can get, the more we can accomplish. Like it just shouldn't be as rocket science as it's become.
mm. Well, people don't listen to understand. People listen to respond. You know,
So true.
and it's like, okay, cool. I'm gonna wait for you to like kind of pause for a breath, and then I'm gonna jump in and down your throat. And he's like, nah, fuck you. Like my narrative is more important. You're like, well, geez, like, all right, back up a little bit, right? Okay, if we're gonna look at the same thing and we're gonna see different things, wouldn't it be beneficial for us both to know both sides? Maybe
Yes.
just
That's
put it out there.
becoming a influencer. I just hate that word because I'm so much more than just social media, but I share my honest opinion on social quite often. And a lot of people don't agree with it, and that is okay. To each their own. But a lot of it's coming from my own community. And I'm like, just don't be a victim of your own shit. Don't be a victim of your life. Like I've been on both sides of it. I've been the victim of becoming a wheelchair user. I was in a motorcycle accident, almost lost my life, lost use of my legs, lost use of bowel and bladder, and it sucks. It's not ideal. No, this isn't the way I would choose to live my life. But there's nothing I can do about it. So I bitched about it for like a good 2 years. And you know what I got? More shit, more misery, more just disappointment in myself and in depression. When I became the victor and I was like, no, this is not going to ruin my life. This is not going to end me. I'm going to use it and I'm going to figure out how to use it to my advantage and figure out how to live life this way. As soon as I switched my narrative, life started providing for me. It got a hell of a lot easier. Now, is every day easy? Absolutely not. I'm a human being. Like shit happens. Just most of the time when shit happens, it's literal shit. Like that's just the way it works with my spinal cord injury. Like that's the name of the game. Regardless if I was paralyzed or not, I would deal with shit in life. Things would happen that would upset me and kind of halt all the brakes and be like, wait a minute, this sucks. But we allow what's happened to us to consume us and determine who we are and where we go and how we pivot. And in reality, that's not that is what it should do, but it shouldn't do it in a negative light where it's like, poor me, feel bad for me. It should be like, no, hell yeah, I overcame this hard shit and I used it to create a life that I never dreamt was possible.
I couldn't agree more. Like the way I think and the way I say it quite a lot of the time is like self-awareness is a superpower, right? You need to be able to fucking figure out who you are and like the good, bad, and the ugly. You got to be able to fucking understand that. And once you know that and you know your limitation, then you can use it to work with you rather than work against you, right? So if you're
Yeah.
in that big victim mentality all the time, like yeah, you're gonna be battling against each other. There's forces that conflict, and they're just gonna butt heads with yourself, and you're not gonna get anywhere. You're gonna be sat on a treadmill, right?
Well, it comes down, I feel like society as a whole, because of how much convenience has been provided to us throughout our life. Like, think about it. You don't have to call somebody on the phone, you can text them. You don't
Yeah,
have to cook a whole meal, you can microwave it. Like, there's so much convenience in our life that when we're slightly inconvenienced, it's the end of the world. And we just can't pivot from that as humans. And so it goes back, like you just said, to that self-reflection of saying, you know what, this happened, but this isn't the end of my world. Because at the end of the day, shit happens to everybody. Like, you're
Mm.
not special in your struggle. And I think people forget that too. Like, everybody is going through something. And your struggle is no more worse or important than someone else's struggle in their own life.
Mm.
So we've got to stop acting like we're special and we're the only ones that understand what we're dealing with, because that's not the freaking case.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be times where you fall into that trap, right? And okay, fine, give yourself 10 minutes, go to the gym, fucking give yourself a day or whatever, blow off some steam, lick your wounds, feel sorry for yourself. And then ultimately, if you don't get the fuck back up, what are you going to do? What's going to happen?
Right.
Fuck all. No one's going to wipe your ass for you. You're going to have to do it yourself. So um, I think, as a side note, perception is really important, right? Because you get someone who might have come from literally the piece of shit of the ground, and you look at it and you're like, oh my God, how are they still going? It's like the end of the world. And then you get someone who comes from a fantastic background, whatever that looks like, and they got the wrong fucking Starbucks order, and it's like the end of the world for them. And you're like, okay, from an outsider looking in, I'm like, that's ridiculous. Like, pull yourself together, man. But that literally could be like the highest fucking intensity of adversity that they've gone through. I'm like, okay, again, it goes down to you and you, right? Look yourself in the mirror, figure out yourself.
But
Go
if
on.
your biggest problem is your Starbucks drink being ordered wrong or somebody cutting you off in traffic, like, do you really have problems? You can afford us, like, and I think that's where honestly the shift came for me. Was I stopped focusing so much on my problems and more gratitude for what I've had. Gratitude saved my life. I mean, just having gratitude to have life. So when I was thrown over the SUV, my chest collapsed and my ribs punctured my lungs, nicked my spinal cord, and I have a traumatic brain injury, and I coded twice and had to be resuscitated. Like, that's two chances that I could not be sitting here today. Fucking right, I'm grateful to still get to breathe and still get to live and still get to go out and do all these things. Like, life is too short for us to get upset over trivial bullshit that's not going to matter in 5 minutes. And so often we let that shit consume us. Also, we let the actions of other people consume us. The way that someone else is living their life is not any of our damn business. If we spent as much time focusing on our own life as we do other people's, yo, our life would be so good, for real. And I think that's the biggest thing that I really learned, was letting go of judgment of myself, of who I thought I should be, where I thought I should be, but also judgment of others. Because who the hell am I to judge the way someone's living their life? I don't like when people judge me for the way that I'm living my life. Why should I judge someone else? And I think that when we let go of judgment and just have gratitude for who we are, where we are, what we have, it just opens up so many doors, and your perspective of life becomes a lot wider, and you're not so just hyper focused on what's in front of you in your world.
So life's a game, right?
Oh, it's such a game. I literally said that this week. I was like, life is
Like,
a game, and I feel like I keep leveling up.
yeah, but like life's a game. Figure out the rules you want to play the game by. Don't expect anybody else to play by the same rules.
Oh, so true.
You know,
That's good. That's really good.
of course it is. I wrote
Yeah. Oh, that's really, yeah,
it.
you did a fucking good job. Good
Well, like,
work.
no, because I went through exactly the same shit you did, not situationally, but as in mentally. I'm like, all right, because everyone goes down the fucking wrong path, or you kind of
Yeah.
let it consume you or whatever. And what I'm saying is, in whatever situation you're in, okay, fine, let it consume you for 5 minutes, 5 days, whatever, and then slap yourself in the fucking face and be like, right, now what am I going to learn from this? How am I going to go forward? And be like, okay, cool. Well, like we said, this is the way I want to live the life. I'm not going to judge anyone else for not living this way, but also I'm not going to listen to any judgment from them towards me too. So I'm just going to stay in my own lane.
Can you repeat your quote?
Life's a game. Figure out the rules you want to play the game by.
Because everyone else has their own.
And don't expect anybody else to play by the same rules.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have to write that down. That's literally going to be a tweet
That's all
from from Alex Thomas,
right.
straight from the mouth.
That's gonna be in the new book. In fact, that is in the new book.
When have you wrote? Is this your second book? You're saying
Yeah,
new, so I'm assuming.
yeah. Poetry.
Oh, it's so rad. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's a bit
Can I
different, right?
order it online?
Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah,
I can get it in the States.
yeah. It's worldwide, man.
Yo, you're gonna need to send me that. Yeah, because one, I love poetry. Two, yes.
Appreciate it. Yeah, yeah. The first one is a little bit irrational, erratic. Like it's a lot of growing up through kind of turmoil from back home, and the second one is a little bit more uh, philosophical, poetic, like a little bit softer in a way. And then the third one will be like even softer still.
When does it come out?
Oh, fucking hope the second one hopefully in the next fucking couple of weeks. I'm just waiting on the cover.
Oh, it's perfect. I'm in the middle, so I'm writing mine's personal growth and development, but it's called Power in the Role. And I'm hoping it comes out in the fall.
Oh, well, that's autumn, right? That's like October.
Yeah.
Ah, cool. I
Hopefully.
always
As
get
long as they
mixed up with.
oh, that's right, because your seasons are different.
That's
Shit.
right, because I speak English, not American English, right?
Damn, that was good.
That's just a little slap with a wet salmon. I'm only kidding with you. I'm only fucking with you.
A slap with a wet salmon.
Yeah, yeah, you know.
Oh my gosh, your slang is the best. I usually, obviously, I talk to English Americans, right? Like, so I don't really talk to people overseas often, and so it's really cool to hear different slang and different seasons and like things you don't typically think about, different time zones at an extreme level. Like, there's so much, and that it's a really good point of like not judging other people in their world, because like you have to think you have your own little world, and the people in your own little world have their own little world, and you're just like a piece of their world.
Yeah.
To strangers outside of there, like think about when you're driving in a car and you pass somebody, you're like, man, I wonder what their life is like. We all do that, right? Like it's like, oh, I
we all
wonder
got
what that
stories,
person's
man.
life is like. Right, we all have stories, we all have shit we've went through, we've all had experiences that we've learned and grown from. And by sharing those experiences, we can learn from one another. If we stop focusing so much on that competition with each other and focus on learning and growing from one another's experience in life, we can take so much more than when we sit there and we judge other people's lives. Like, no, learn from other people's mistakes and decisions. I think our parents are the first ones we can learn from. We learn so many habits from our parents, and we're like, my mom was that way, that's the way it was. I was raised that way, that's the way it was. We can break that. We have the power to be different than who we've always been or how we were raised. And I feel like we use that oftentimes as a crutch to give an excuse as to why we're not doing what we want to be doing or being where we want to go or being who we want to be, is because we have all these crutches that we're using as an excuse rather than to grow from.
Yeah, totally. Like I'm a little bit controversial in the sense of I'm not a massive fan of labels. I think they can help some people because it kind of ticks with their mind and it really comforts them and it helps them, right? And I think that's fantastic. Do you? But just my experience and for myself, it doesn't help me too much. I'm like, no, I don't want to give myself an option to kind of fall back on that label, right? And I think most of the time I was like, oh, there's a perfect example. Like, okay, you have a kid, right? And you have a female kid, right? It was like, oh, we've already given it a label. It's a female. And then we're going to give it a name, right? Roxanne. So now it's got two labels and the fucking thing's not even had a shit yet, right? So now everything else, okay, now you're this age, now you go to this school, now you are from this family, now we do this, right? Because we're from this family. Like I'm working class. I was like, oh, we're blue collar, we're working class. I was like, okay, cool. So you've put yourself in a box. You put a ceiling above you, which is very, very fucking low. So you have to crouch down all the time. And you're like, this doesn't make any sense because we're literally just molding clones. We're molding the same rather than nurturing life.
is it a label or is it just telling the truth? Because in reality, if you're born with a vagina, then you're a woman, technically. Or do we just not call different body parts different body parts? Because that's what gives us, that's what differentiates. Like, I come from trucking. My mom's a truck driver, my dad's a dispatcher. Like they've been in trucking their entire life. And I see what you're saying as far as like for the longest time, I'm like, my parents are truck drivers. I'm not like, I'm going to go into a trade. This is what my life is going to be. And I kind of defined myself based on who my parents were. And I feel like it's more rather than labels, we define ourselves by our environment.
Yeah, that definitely comes into it, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
I guess I would only go down the label route because I've left home, right, and I'm on the literally the furthest I could get from my home, and clearly I'm not the same as the environment I'm in, and I'll still get the label from being back home, and it's something that I will personally, and I've said this before, so I'll fucking say it again. I like personally battle with a lot. It's just like, okay, maybe I am a piece of shit. Maybe I'm always going to be broke. Maybe I'm fucking deemed to like, bend the rules or like do whatever, right? And you're just like, nah, fuck you, man. Like that's just a predisposition placed upon me. That might be, you know, everyone's got that little bitch ass voice in the back of their head, right? And I think for dudes and especially dudes who are quick to anger, that voice is quite loud sometimes. Which isn't, ladies get that too, but I mean, stereotypically talking. Um,
right.
so it's like, oh, you know what? Fuck you. No, I'm not defined by that. I'm defined by actions and defined by growth, right? We all love the quote of happiness is not a destination, it's the journey, right? Yeah, that's great. Take happiness out of the equation and everything else is still the fucking journey, man. Like it's not about the destination, it's about attempting and trying, but we don't live that way.
I think a lot of it comes down to us in our own reality. Like a lot of times I'm the disabled girl, and that's literally I would define myself. I'm the disabled girl. I'm a piece of shit. I'm never gonna be able to accomplish anything. My disability holds me back. I'm held back for this reason. I come from nothing, so I'm gonna be nothing. And it's that negative self-talk and that loop that we get ourselves into. Our mind is so damn powerful. And it's highly underrated how powerful our mind is. And when we feed it with crap that's on social media or just keep scrolling social media or just we don't do anything but listen to, certain type of music and it's telling us, I'm gonna get all these hoes and sell these drugs and do these things. Like what do we become, right? I had an incredible conversation a couple of weeks ago with an individual and he talked about how we are the product of what we consume. We are a product of our environment and the consumption of what we've had. And a lot of people, the reason they're so uneasy and they're so unsure is because they don't know who the fuck they are and what they want. Because they literally are just, they're just a result of what they've consumed up until this point. And so the importance of silence, like something I've been truly practicing for a couple of months now, is sitting in silence and sitting with my own thoughts. Like, what do I want? Who am I? Where do I want to go from here? Rather than listening to a podcast or listening to music or being surrounded by other people. Like a boundary that I have in my life is I have to be completely alone for at least 30 minutes a day. I need to be alone. And if I'm not, then it's really chaotic up here. And another tool that I use is journaling because your mind doesn't have the limitations of reality. Your thoughts in your mind are able to go whichever way they want to go because there's no limitations of the real world up there. It's just like boom 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 boom. So then when you journal it and you put it on paper, you're now taking that thought and you're creating it into reality. And you're like, that doesn't make much sense out here because in your mind there's no limitation, so it makes as much sense as it's going to make. Your mind's like, fuck yeah, that's the way it is. Like, holy shit, I can't accomplish anything, I'm a piece of shit. Then you put it on paper and you're like, wait a minute, I have daily habits, I just have to put the time in, I need to be consistent. And like when you get it out of your head and into the real world, it allows you to really reevaluate your thoughts, and then you gain control of those thoughts, and then you figure out where you want to go. And it's just steps. And too many people get caught up at that first step. And it's like, There's no right or wrong way. You just got to do it.
I fucking love you for saying that, man. Like, honestly, like most people don't know who the fuck they are. And that's okay.
Right.
You know, we're all on this journey, and right. And another thing I wrote down, and I actually bring it up quite regularly. So if you listen to every episode, I do apologize. But you know, it's like again, it's gonna be in the other book of I kill myself every night because every morning I wake up a new man. I then have 24 hours to figure out who he is. Right. And I think the point is we growing. That's the fucking point, right? The point is we're feeling shit. That's the fucking point. Whether you are anxious, depressed, lonely, happy, euphoric, in complete fucking divinity, it doesn't matter. Or just like stagnant still, like that's the fucking point. Because throughout the entire story, we're gonna go from A to Z, we're gonna go from 1 to 10, right? You're gonna have the colors of the rainbow in there, and it's gonna be like, oh, that whole thing that you just did, right, over 80 years, 100 years, 20 years, right? Yeah. Well, that's called life, kid. That's it,
Yeah.
right? And you don't want to fucking figure that out on your fucking deathbed just while they're going to throw fucking dirt on you, right? It's like, okay, cool. Like today, who the fuck woke up today? I was like, oh, today this lad woke up and he's feeling chatty or he might blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. Then we're going to have to like play that hand, right? Today I'm dealt a hand with fucking pocket aces. All right, so we're going to go pretty fucking hard. Or tomorrow I might be dealt 2-7 off suit. Okay, cool. I might have to fold that motherfucker, right? Because that might not get me anywhere, right? It's like,
Right.
fine, fucking figure out who you are, journal that shit down, meditate over it. I'm a fucking massive guy on meditation, whether it is literally just sitting still, whether it's sat on the couch going it doesn't matter. Do your thing, whatever way works for you, do your fucking thing. I don't care. Like, as long as you're not hurting yourself or anybody else, live and let live, right? And it's all about dissecting this complex thing of a living creature with like a subconscious, right? To then be like, okay, cool. Now I know
Well,
who I am. How am I going to be able to connect with other people, right?
something else that same individual I talked with, like we literally had, it was just the most profound conversation because I feel like now you don't get to have good conversation with people, right? It's
Mm.
like it's so shallow. But we had talked about the importance of his whole program's called Pay Yourself First, and he's like he looks at emotions throughout the day as a monetary value. And so
Mm.
if you don't pay yourself first thing in the morning, then the rest of the day you're in emotional debt to everyone else
Oof.
because you're going to keep pulling from this empty savings account, right? So
Pouring from an
like
empty
that's
cup,
what,
right?
right, so the importance of having that solid morning routine. So something for me personally, I read my devotion. I read 10 pages of a nonfiction personal development book. I just added in the daily stoic journal. So I journal morning and night now. I read the daily stoic just to kind of get my head in the right place. And then I start my day. And I found that I am a lot more valuable to the people that need me to be valuable when I handle my shit first thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Um, so like pay yourself first, y'all. You gotta take care of you. Last I started reading 10 pages a day last January. I did a mental grit program called 75 Hard. Changed my entire perspective of who I am, what I can accomplish. Um, but I read over 14 books last year
Wow.
just from reading 10 pages a day. And that speaks monuments to the value of our daily habits, right? I only read 10 pages a day, but that added up to 14 books. That's 14 books I gained information, insight, and knowledge from other people's experience in life. And now I can apply that to my own life. That allowed me to shortcut a lot of shit. I'm not gonna lie. And it just is from having that same habit every single day. So set yourself up for success. The habits that you have today determine where you go tomorrow. And if you have certain goals in your life, take a look at your daily habits. If your habits aren't aligned with those goals, then the two are never going to meet. You're going to have to change one or the other. Either you change your goals, which who the hell wants to do that, or you change your habits, which it's hard at first, but you've got to overcome that voice in your head and you've got to create discipline and say, you know what, enough's enough. I'm going to start showing up for me because so often we show up for everyone else in our life, but we don't show up to the one person that's orchestrating our life, and that's ourselves.
Yeah, it's quite funny, right? Because if we're trying to give 100% of ourselves to everybody else, right? Because naturally, human beings, we like to look after people, right? That's just instinctual. Okay, cool. And now I'm running off empty. I'm running at 20%. I was like, how much fucking usage do you think you're gonna do? No, you're gonna be a burden on everybody, man. So like, battle that fucking thought at the back of your head that's thinking you're selfish, right? Because everyone thinks like that, and a lot of the time I got to knock that on the head. That's another reason why I do the morning routine. I get up fucking ridiculously early, mainly because no one wants anything from it. No one wants anything from it. No one needs me. No one even fucking cares I exist, right? Because the day's not even awake yet. It's still the middle of the night. I'm still doing my thing. Everyone else is like asleep. I'm like, cool. I can then set myself, right? So then if shit really hits the fan, I can look after everybody else, and it doesn't matter if nothing else gets done.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think that it's highly undervalued, the power of our habits and having a solid routine. And I believe in nighttime routines too. Anyone that struggles with sleep. So I coach fitness and nutrition. That's my like jam and what I do. Um, and anyone that of my clients that struggles with sleep, we talk about their sleep hygiene. What kind of nightly routine do you have? Because when you finish the day, what do you do before you go to bed? Is it the same actions? Because if you put yourself in the same routine every single night before you go to bed, you'll trigger your body that when you go to the bathroom, floss, brush your teeth, use the bathroom, wash your face, put your lotion on, your body's like, all right, we're getting ready to lay down. It's time to go to bed. It will start producing that melatonin to help you go to bed.
Mhm.
So like having a dark room, limiting screen time an hour before you go to bed. Having a cool room. A cool room helps you fall asleep and stay asleep. Like it's scientific facts that are proven that we just don't implement. And so it's up to us to implement these things that will help us to show up and be the best version of us. Like, I'm not saying that you have to go out and take over the world, but damn it, you should try to be the best version of you every single day and be a little bit better tomorrow than you were today.
Mm. And the thing is, man, I think the hardest thing is a lot of people work on their phones now, so I will work on our phones, right? And
Yeah.
it's hard because you could be chatting to a mate recreationally, or I don't know, playing fucking doodle jump or some shit, right? Just like chilling out, hanging out on your phone, doing your thing. And then the next thing you know, you've got a work email, or you've got a DM, or you've got a fucking message, like a work DM and all that type of stuff. And you're like, okay, one more. And you're like, it's 8:30 at night, it's 9 at night. You're like, dude, you're now pulling 6-9 days, right? You're now pulling 5 a.m. to fucking 10 p.m. You're now always switched on mentally. Like you're never switching it off, right? Everybody kicks off, all the tech geeks kick off of like, why didn't you turn your laptop off? Why did you just put it to sleep? It's gonna fuck it up. I was like, well, that's what we're doing our fucking brains, man. We're staying connected. And I was like, you need to be able to disconnect. And one of the fucking million and one reasons why I renamed the podcast to the Nomadic Podcast is I disconnect quite a lot, and usually I get to this stage where I'm like, you know what, I'm done. So then I go on these nomadic trips and I disappear and I
I
delete
love that.
everything from my phone. I don't tell anybody where I'm going. I don't know where I'm going. I just like fucking drive, walk, hike, swim, boat, whatever, just disappear. And I'll take a pen and a paper or a pencil and I'll just kind of, through the power of the pen, I digest a lot of things, write it all down. And when I feel like, okay, I'm okay now, like I'll come back. And sometimes that takes me a couple of days. Sometimes that takes me a fucking week or two. It is what it is, right? You got to send yourself psycho, like literally send yourself insane, which is scary, but necessary in a way.
Well, when it's like when you first start sitting in silence, it's so uncomfortable. You're
Oh,
like, oh, I need something, I need something. But then after a while, it's peaceful. I remember when my sister lived here, she would ask me, she's like, how do you work with no sound? I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, you don't have music or anything playing. I was like, yeah, it's great. What do you mean? And then I noticed that her opinion of that for a minute, I allowed it to control me. So then I started working with music and I was like, oh, this is weird. So once you get into it, at first it is very uncomfortable, but once you get into a routine, that silence is that's your happy place. You're like, hell yeah, let's go. Something that I did to help with the notification things, I actually turned off all notifications on my phone.
Hmm.
So I don't get text. The only thing I do get is calls. Which most of the time, honestly, most of the time my phone's on airplane mode because right number, wrong time. I've got other shit to do than
Right number,
talk
wrong
to you right
time. That's
now.
fucking brilliant.
For real. I think it was Eric Thomas who said that. He said that a few years ago, and I'm just like, yeah, that's absolutely true. Yeah, like it's the right
I
number,
love
but the
ET.
wrong time. Yeah, I believe it was him. It was him who had said that, and I'm like, it is though. It's the truth because like for so long we allow other people to dictate what we do with our time, how we spend our time. If someone calls, we gotta drop everything we're doing in that moment and answer it. And it's like, you know what? No offense, but I've got some bigger shit that I'm trying to work on right now, and your distraction is not bigger than my dreams. And so I've got to move on, and I've got to do what I have to do to accomplish what I'm trying to accomplish. And if that means not taking your call for a couple months, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. I literally am trying to make shit happen for myself. And you lose friends over it that don't get it, and the ones that understand, they stay. And it is what it is. I think that we just have to be willing to love ourselves and believe in ourselves and believe in our dreams more than we worry about relationships with other people.
Yeah, and it's like I agree. I mean, it's not a get out of jail free card for being an asshole to people, right? And there are some people that you need to make space for, but at the same time, like if they're the people that you would make space for, you don't have to make space for them all the time,
Mm-mm,
right? And it's just like, look,
mm-mm.
dude, like there's a lot of shit going on right now. I'm in a whirlpool and I'm getting the fucking shit kicked out of me. You're gonna have to fucking wait. And if they're not okay with that, I'm like, great, you know where the fucking door is. You came in through it, so go out the same way. Fuck off. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna keep doing my thing. And like I'm sure you're an individual that I've seen the backs of a lot of people, and usually they throw a lot of middle fingers up at you on the way out. But fuck them, man. At the end of the day, like you're the only person that spends 24 hours a day with you, and your mind can be your biggest fucking enemy. So you might as well make friends with it.
Well, and that's another thing is surrounding yourself with like-minded people. Like if you have a big goal and dream in life, you need to be surrounded by people that also have big goals and dreams.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
if you're surrounded by small-minded people, a lot of times what happens, which again, there's nothing wrong with I call it the American dream, but like having a family, working a 9 to 5, if you are truly happy in that, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you are unhappy in your current circumstance, I don't want to fucking hear it. Like there's days that I hate being an entrepreneur. Like it's a pain in the ass. It's hard. I don't have a steady paycheck. Like I'm doing my best to make ends meet right now and make this shit happen. But at the same time, I don't go around and bitch to everybody about it because this is the path I've chosen. So if you've chosen your path, don't go around and bitch about it and bring down everyone else around you. You've again, relationships need to be a value exchange. And if you are constantly taking away but not adding back value, then in my life personally, I don't have room for you.
Mm. Yeah, I say like if you're doing something, if you're trying, actively making an effort, and you just need a fucking vent for a minute and get some shit off your chest, I got time. But if you're not doing anything, shut the fuck up.
Right. I don't have the time for it. At the end of the day, I was in a life-changing accident and I had two choices. And society would have been like, you know what? It's okay if you don't want to continue on. We understand. It's okay if you don't want to do more than what you're doing. We understand. Like society gave me an out and I was like, fuck your out. Like I've got big things to do, big dreams to fill now. Like I have a bigger journey and a bigger purpose. I personally I pray to God, and so I'm just like God's got a bigger purpose for me, man, and I just got to keep on showing up and doing His work, and He'll keep providing me with all the good shit because that's exactly the way it's worked. I do what I'm supposed to do, treat people well, support others, uplift others, and guess what happens? I'm uplifted, I'm elevated, my life is elevated. And I think that that's something that's highly, highly underestimated is the power of uplifting and helping others and pouring your soul into others and how it is reciprocated in yourself.
But serving, man, like the most self-fulfilled and self-content and internally happy individuals serve other people and try and get your fucking head around that, right?
Right.
You're like, whoa, 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 hold on a minute. Like, so you're
Wait a
saying if
minute.
I do everything for other people, I feel better. You're like, yes, motherfucker. Like that's called like community. That's called like mutual happiness. I don't know, maybe we fucking help this life and can help another one. Like, wouldn't you want to do that? You know,
I
the
mean, I
smile is the
do.
most, yeah, 100%. You know, like a smile is the most infectious thing on the planet.
It is. Yo, you could be driving down the road and you smile at someone and they will always smile back. In the grocery store, to those of you listening, like the next time you go to the grocery store, you go to a gas station, anytime in public, smile at somebody. Guarantee you they will, if they see your smile, they will smile back, regardless of how bad their day is. They could be having just an absolute shit day and you smile at them and they'll smile. And they'll probably frown right afterwards, but you got them to smile for a second. And that smile releases those endorphins and it just makes you feel good.
Mm. Yeah, that's the whole thing with the masks situation, right? Like, because we still, I'm like I said, I'm New Zealand, right? And we still have to wear masks everywhere. And you know, I caught myself because I'm still like, as you walk past, you give someone a little bit of a smile, right? Um, like back home, it's usually, "Hi mate, you all right?" But I say that here, and people, one, don't understand what I'm saying to them, and two, they're quite um internal and passive people, right? So they don't like a lot of social interaction from strangers, right? So I'm like, okay, cool. I give them a smile. And I'm still smiling. I'm like, fuck, Alex, they can't fucking see what you're doing. Like, you've got a fucking mask on. And then it just kind of went me down a mental rabbit hole in the sense of, damn, like what's gonna be the long-term social impacts of this if we now are like, you know, okay, now you can't see my smile on my nose. Okay, cool. And then I've got a hat on so you can't see my head. So you literally just got my eyes, right? And then most people look away from you. So there's no fucking eye contact. I'm like, right, so are we just fucking clones walking past each other like some sort of fucking knobs? I was like, this is sad, man. Like, and you know, I'm like I said before, I'm a fucking poet. So usually I go down some real deep dark rabbit holes and it hits me, man. It really hits me hard. I'm like, we are social creatures, and it's been proven. I mean, we built cities because it's arguably supposed to be the safest, right? We are social creatures. We like to socially interact. We're supposed to find a mate so we can keep having these fucking thing that we call the human race, which means we need somebody else, right? We break it down foundationally, we need somebody else. And now we no longer have that connection. I'm like, the fuck is going on?
What about our kids?
Nah, man, like that. I don't
That's,
know. I don't know.
that's something that I don't think that when the whole pandemic hit and there, there's a lot of conspiracy theories, conspiracy, that are being shown that they're true. They were conspiracy theories in 2020 and now it's coming out that they're true. And it's just like, but it's, what are we doing to our future generations? Like they're just putting these masks on the kids. They're forcing these vaccines that we don't know, the long-term effects of them yet. And it's mind-blowing to me how people can go along with it with no pushback. And it's like, well, my government says so. My government says so. And here and again, I'm just speaking of America, but like our government here it's supposed to be for the people by the people. And it's just not, it doesn't seem that way. It just seems like there's a lot more to it than just, oh, for your safety, for your safety. Because if it was truly for our safety, we'd be doing something to reduce heart disease, the number one killer in America. Um, and that could be fixed through diet. We would make food more affordable. We, again, like I said before we got on the call, we would be teaching children how to be victors of their circumstances rather than become the victim. Teach them how to do taxes, how to budget, how to be more than just having to go to college to have a future. Because there's so much more out there now, and it's just we we have this like one track mind of how to raise our future generations, and it just needs to be broadened a lot more. And we have this one track mind of how things have to be, and that's kind of what happened with COVID too. It's like, oh, you have to wear the mask, you have to get vaxxed, and if you don't, then you're just a shit person. And it's like, well, wait a minute, you're not looking at, there's more behind than just wear a mask, get vaxxed. Like there's more to people's decision than that. And I just think it's really frustrating that it's just kind of this umbrella statement and you're not looking at the individual person and you're losing that individualism, which is where going back to you calling humans clones. Like we literally are just clones of each other because there's no longer individualism. Everyone's trying to be like this person, this person, or this person.
Yeah, it's like keeping up with the Joneses, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't make any sense because I really, if I had one wish, I would, and you couldn't like cure poverty and all that, everyone fucking has the noble answer, right? I'm like, if I have one wish, I would give people the ability to see themselves through my eyes, right? Because honestly, people can walk down the street and I'm like, okay, you get the initial perception of them and you get a little bit of prejudice and you're just like, I bet you have some fucking really unique thing that you are so fucking cool at doing. Whether you play the guitar with your left hand whilst balancing a plate on your nose, whether you're like really good at video games, whether you're like, I don't know, fucking great at photography or growing plants or whatever, right? And I'm just like, if people actually understood their uniqueness, right, and their individual traits and big themselves up from that, I think that would then in turn, they would think, okay, if I have this, you're going to have something else.
Hmm.
And then if they're comfortable in themselves, then they're going to be more comfortable with other people. And I think society is a fascinating fucking thing. I think it is like so strange, so interesting, and like you can't really put your finger on what it is because it adapts and evolves and changes, right? And you just like, you walk around and you're like, what the fuck is going on? Like
Yeah.
you've got like you got the country, right, that they've drawn these imaginary lines in the sand and been like, you live on that line, so fuck you, I live on this line, so love me, like that doesn't make any sense. But anyway, then we've got this government, so it's an umbrella. It's kind of like the roof, and like, okay, great. Now you've got some laws, and I shall not kill and all that. Yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense. We shouldn't kill each other. That's not the way to go, right? And then obviously don't fucking nick people's shit. Yeah, fine, whatever. And then you go like ground floor, right? And you're like, there's like this intangible, unspoken rules and laws and ways that you need to live your life just because like everybody kind of scuttles around and does their thing and you need to just scuttle in after it. And I'm just like, I literally stand there, right? And I look around, I'm like, am I the only one who's like taking the blue pill?
No, you're not. But we're few. It feels like we're few and far between. It really does.
We're the outcast, mate.
Um, and the thing is, I don't think that we are. I think that I really believe we're the silent majority and that people just don't, they either aren't there yet or they're there and they're in the process of learning it. I think that good that came out of the pandemic, right, is that a lot more people became a lot more self-aware. I know I did. The pandemic's the greatest thing that could have happened to me. Hands down. I mean, it as on a personal level, it just forced me to dive in deep with those demons that I've pushed deeper and deeper for so long. Um, that it allowed me to grow and develop into this person that I am sitting here today. It allowed me to think outside of where I came from, my parents that raised me, the life I was currently living, the people I was surrounded by. So often I was just consumed by that, and it really forced me to stay at home in my own silence and really gain an understanding of who I am and what my desires are. And I think that when more people become connected with that, who they are and the desires that they have deep within themselves, and then address the things that you don't like I had a lot of shit about myself that I just didn't like. And I'm like, you know who has control of this? Me. Let me do something about it. Because at the end of the day, no one's coming to save us. We could sit here and wish all day that we'll have this great savior superhero that's going to say, I've got you. Don't worry. That's not the fucking way that life works, y'all. It doesn't work that way at all.
Mm.
There's no part of life that anyone's coming to save you. So you've got to make the decision to save yourself. And that's kind of the reality that I had. I was like, damn, no one's coming to do this for me. Like I literally have to be the one to do the work. And when you start to do the work for yourself, it makes you feel limitless. I definitely feel unstoppable. That's probably the most powerful trait I have right now is it doesn't matter what the fuck you say to me. I'm unstoppable and you're not going to stop me. And to be on that level, that is what we should all, strive to get to regardless, because we put way too much value in what other people have to say about our lives. And when we just stop worrying about that and we just start worrying about being happy, game over. Well, it's actually the start of the game. It's like game over. Let's go level up, like restart. I got it this time.
This is so fucking cool to hear that. Right. And I just want to like take a second to big you up a little bit, right? Because everybody, well, most people kind of know this is the thing that they need to do, but no one wants to do that. No one wants to dig the ground up, pull that fucking skeleton out, slap it in the goddamn face, look it in the eye, and was like, I'm the boss of you, motherfucker. You're not the boss of me, before burying that cunt back in the ground and throwing the dirt back over him. No one wants to do that because it sucks, man. It hurts. It's a lot of miserable, uncomfortable, lonely days. You don't know whether you want to punch through the wall or cry yourself to sleep or both, right? And it's fucking tough, man. And it doesn't take 2 seconds. And guess what? You're going to have to do it again tomorrow, and you're going to have to do it again the next day. And you're more than likely still doing it, right? But it gets easier, and you put that one to bed, and that one no longer like fucks you. It comes up every now and again, but it doesn't fuck you up. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to focus on this one and that one and that one. Everybody's got them, man. And that is so cool to see someone grab their fucking devil by its goddamn throat, pull it in, look it in the eye, and be like, fuck you. I'm the boss, not you, is one of the most beautiful things on the planet. Like seeing someone go to that uncomfortable place, hold themselves in that uncomfortable space, right? And be like, all right, mate, this is you, man. There's no one else is going to save you. This is you. This is your time. You're going to have to do this. Is so fucking cool.
It definitely it was dark, like dark for a solid 3 months. It started, I was on this gradual decline, and it was about 2 months into the lockdowns. So I hadn't seen anyone other than my parents and my dog, and I was in college, and college kept me busy, and then that semester ended, and it was like in between the spring and summer semester, it was just, this sucks. I'm sad. And I'm like, why am I so sad? I didn't understand. And then my cousin committed suicide. And
Fuck, man.
that hit me hard. It was like, because the first feeling I had of her suicide was jealousy. And I'm like, wow, she's not in pain anymore. She doesn't have to be here anymore. Like, she's done. She just no longer exists. That's it. And I was like, wow, to have the balls to follow through with that. I'm like, I have a whole deep ideology of suicide of like it's either greatly noble or just absolutely selfish. But I think it's a combination of both. Like, to have that power to end your own life, just to end it. I mean, that's powerful.
Dude, I'm
But
like, I'm the same. So I'm sorry to butt in, right?
you're fine.
I'm sorry, but first of all, thank you for sharing that. That's deep shit, and you didn't have to share anything you don't want to, but you can say whatever the fuck you want to me. Like, that's fine. But yeah, I agree, and I said something, and I say I say it publicly because I'm only ever going to be myself. Of like, I don't think the act of suicide is tragic. I don't think it's tragic.
No.
I think the fact there's a human being got there, like the process of them going from good, happy, fine, sad, all the way up to suicidal right before they do it. I think that is the tragedy. The actual act is peaceful. They're no longer suffering anymore. Other people are suffering. Yeah, like
But it's not
100%.
about you. It's not about you because you are just a blip in someone else's world.
Mm,
And that's the thing. People make other people's suicide about them.
mm.
It doesn't have anything to do with you. Their suicide solely about them, their struggles, and what they're dealing with as an individual. And they just didn't want to do it anymore. So stop making someone else's. And that's the thing. We are so damn self-absorbed that we believe that someone else would take their own life and have it affect us. Oh, like, no, fuck you. That's not what it's about. If I take my own life, it's because I'm fucking sick of this bullshit. Like, that's what it comes down to, Like, I don't think that that somebody taking their life is to cause you pain. And it just is, it's amazing to me because I've had two cousins. In 2019, my cousin committed suicide, and then 2020, literally a month later, 2020, a year and a month later, my other cousin committed suicide. And so it was like, it was a year, boom, boom. And I'm just like, in both times I felt that jealousy, and I'm just like, damn, like the fact that they got that sad, nobody noticed. Nobody even noticed what was happening. Nobody even realized, because we're so consumed in our in our world,
Yeah.
and everyone in our inner circle is just kind of a blip. Nobody noticed that they were so distraught and so done with life that they ended it. But now you want to notice because they're no longer here. Like, go fuck yourself. That's literally how I feel when people are like, oh, but why would they do that to me? It's so selfish. No, it has nothing to do. It's not even about you. Stop making it about you. It's nothing about you.
They realize because they now have feelings, right? It has brought some uncomfortable feelings up, and now it has made them address something, right? Now they realize it. Like the
Right.
power comes from if you're able to dissect someone else's feelings, if you're able to understand, empathize with another human being, right? That's power. Sympathy, fuck sympathy, man. I don't want your fucking
Right.
sympathy. Don't talk
Hell
to me
no.
about that bullshit. All right. Like, let's create a connection. You'll have no idea what it's like. I'll have no idea what it's like for you, because we've not fucking lived the same lives, right? We've not walked 20 fucking summit years of your life through someone else's shoes, right? But we're going to be able to empathize with the feelings. And because of that, we're going to be able to connect from it. I think that's what we need. And I think if you look in someone's eyes, it tells you everything you need to know. The eyes tell everything, man. It's a gateway to someone's soul.
So true. So true. I do, side note, this book that I'm reading right now, it's called Attached. And it says the science of attachment and relationships, but it's literally all relationships. It's not just love. And I think that it's so important to understand your attachment style, why you approach people the way you approach people, and then understanding the different attachment styles so you can understand those around you. And having that deeper understanding. But I think you would really, really enjoy this book.
Just like love languages, right?
Yeah, it's similar to that. It's very similar to that, but it's just very eye-opening. I'm like a week into it at my 10 pages a day, so I'm like 100 pages in, and it's just so eye-opening. It makes you just really be like, wow, that's why I acted that way in that certain situation. Wow, that's, and like you're like, oh, this is why this person's approaching me this way. And that's again the powerful thing about reading is you learn from other people's experience, and it allows you to analyze your own experience before reacting.
Yeah, I agree. I really agree. I think like I had a conversation fucking maybe late last year, start of this year, and it was about communicating in the way not that you want to come across, but in the way that someone else is going to perceive it,
Right.
right? And it's like because I've been at the front of the class and coaching and all that, and I'm like, right, I walk in and I'm a dude, right, and I'm also as wide as a fucking door frame, and I have a deep voice, and usually I'm outside of Manchester, so I sound weird from everybody else, right? Now if I get this fucking 5 foot nothing woman that comes in, right, I'm automatically just going to be intimidating. That's just the way it's going to be, right? Before I open my mouth, she could potentially be intimidated, and the dudes too. I'm not just saying it's just ladies. I'm like, cool. So I'll have to communicate myself in a way that's going to trigger some sort of response in this person, rather than just be like, oh, well, fuck you, that isn't me, so I'm just going to do my thing. I was like, no, it's going to make things worse, man. You need to understand somebody else, understand how they dissect things and work through life just by fucking visual, right? And coaching's hard, man, because you need to know that 3 seconds after they walk through the door, right? You've smelt them, got out the car, and you're like, Jeremiah is having a bad day today. Cool. I need to like stay away from him and just give him a pat on the shoulder. But Stacy's come in and she needs the fucking drill sergeant. And Jesi's come in and she needs someone to listen to her and fucking whatever, right? And it's like that equates to life, man. We're just dumb humans that like to do it physically in the gym and get all sweaty and slang and bang barbells. But like it's life, man. It's communicating with humans, and it's acknowledging people's differences and working fucking together rather than like, well, fuck yous, like I'm gonna do my thing and just stay like solid. I'm like, no, you gotta be
I
fucking
know.
malleable.
I love social media. Don't get me wrong, because obviously that's how we connected.
Mm.
But at the same time, I believe that social media creates way too much of a comparison game, and it creates this competition through comparison. And it's like, whoa, 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 we shouldn't be competing. We should definitely just be collaborating with one another. There's so many of us out in the world doing similar things, trying to accomplish similar goals. And often we are too busy comparing with others that are in the same space rather than collaborating and being like, hey, what have you learned this far? What have you learned this far? Like something I've recently had the opportunity to do is collaborate with another woman in the wheelchair business space, um, who's just empowered tons of women, created this amazing brand called the Rolettes. And connecting with her is really cool because like I learned so much from her, and then I knew some things that she didn't know, so I was able to teach her some things, and it was a really cool value exchange. And I think if more people in similar spaces just had that open conversation, all of a sudden you're going to gain value from one another. There's going to be something that that person knows that you don't, and something you've experienced that that person hasn't, and it's really just going to allow you guys to create a higher power in both of you to level up at once. It
Mhm.
shouldn't be such a competition. We should be uplifting each other to help us all level up.
Agreed. Like everyone should have the time and space to be the teacher and the student, right? And that's
Yeah.
usually why I get fired a lot, because that's my standard, right? I'm like, I'm going to give you every piece of time and space and listen to you and ask questions so I understand it fully and all that type of shit. I was like, cool, but I'm also bringing more to the table than just fucking a pair of hands and a sickening work ethic, you know? I was like,
Right.
hey, I've been in the fucking industry 11 years. I've been around the world. I've coached thousands of fucking people. Like, you know, I've fucking linked and spoken. Like, this is fucking episode 226. I'm going to take something from everybody, right? I was like, hey, maybe we can use this to like help more people. It was like, Alex, shut the fuck up. My way or the highway. I was like, thank you very much for your time. Have a great day. I'm going to leave. I was like, you know, and as on my way out, I'd be like, oh, I forgot to tell you. I was like, yeah, fuck you. And I'm like, I'm done. You know, it's like it's funny. And I think I I really hope more people take that to heart and be like, okay, we're in the game of growth, right? And every life is a life, and respect is not earned, man. I disagree with it.
No,
So respect is given, respect is taken away 100%. But respect is given, man. Like somebody's
it's
gonna
just like
walk down the
trust.
street, just like trust. Someone's gonna walk down the street, right? Well, in fact, I've got a little bit of a different thing with trust. I don't trust people, but in the sense of I don't believe what you tell me, right? I'll believe what you show me,
Ah, I get that. I get
and
that.
I tell people this. Like, I will literally sit down with like a partner, like a business partner, or a fucking employer or employee or whatever. I'll be like, I don't believe a single word you just told me. Again, it goes back to authenticity. Hey, I'm only going to be real. That's it. I'm going to tell you the truth. Why? Because I respect you. I
Yeah,
respect you. I respect
I
what you've done
respect
in the
that.
past. I respect your story. And I respect it so much that I'm going to tell you something that might hit a wrong button. But hey, I'm also going to hold the space so we can communicate over it. So you're not going to go home and cry. Right. So I'm like, hey, I don't trust you. But at the same time, I will trust you from what you show me, because like it must be proving yourself through actions would be the way I kind of like work. Right. I was like, okay, go do something. Once you've done something, I'll believe it and cool. And then we'll start doing some shit.
I feel that. I feel that so much. I only set an hour aside, so we are gonna have to. We literally like I'm
Mate,
just not gonna take a no as an answer, but we have to take like have another conversation again because
okay,
this is
okay.
so good.
So that sounds great. Part two, part two.
We have to have a part two. I mean, if you're down, okay, I'll take no as an answer because it's literally your podcast. But I would
Of
love to
course
have
I'm
a part two
fucking
with
down.
you.
Like like talking to people is like, honestly, dude, it's a fucking honor, man. Like I said, like working class on 2 occasions, I've not had a place to live. 2 occasions, I've fucking slept in multiple gyms, in my car, in fucking shed. Like, I'm like, what? Somebody on the other side of the world want to have a conversation with me, like, so we can help people? Yes, motherfucker. You name the time, I'll be fucking there. You know what I mean? Like, let's go. So, of
I'm
course,
in. I'm here for it.
right. And I've got 3 questions, but I can ask you on the next one.
No, go ahead and ask me real quick. Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So,
I'm
what's
gonna
the
try
great?
not to go on a tangent.
I'll rein you in. What's the greatest piece of life advice you've ever received?
Definitely the letting go of judgment, for sure. You know, we're so busy judging others. Letting go of that judgment is huge. And then honestly, the greatest piece though is faith. Hold on to your faith. Believe that everything's going to work out the way it's supposed to work out if you put the effort in to make it happen. But have faith in it. Don't let your bitch voice or other people tell you what you can or can't accomplish.
I am really grateful that you said faith, rather than like fucking this, that, and the other. I'm like, people believe and have faith in whatever they want, right? And whatever works for them. And honestly, I think there's a lot of wisdom in religion. I'm
I
spiritual.
agree.
I'm not religious at all. But I hold a lot of space for myself and spirituality. Um, and I fucking really hope we break the narrative of like, fuck religion, fuck science, fuck all this. And I'm like, dude, there's so much fucking wisdom in all of it. Let's take the good, leave the bad, move on.
Literally, the Bible is just a book that tells you how to treat people. It's like, hey, how do you treat people? With kindness, with love, with respect. Hey, what are you supposed to do? Uplift one another. Hey, don't be a shitty person.
Don't be a
Oh,
dick.
okay. Like, I don't personally believe in organized religion. I think that organized religion has a really bad name. People force their beliefs on people, and you have to let people come to it as they come to it. But I do believe in a higher power, and I pray to God. Like, I know that it's hard to deny that there's not a higher power out here, like orchestrating shit and making shit happen for you. When you put your, again, faith into your dreams, your goals, and you truly authentically live to help other people and uplift other people while you work towards your goals, you will be provided for.
Yep.
You don't know how. Like, a perfect example, I didn't know how I was going to pay a bill last month, and literally the day before it was due, the exact amounts in my account, like, someone sent me money and it was like the exact amount, like, just randomly some random person from the internet sent me money and it was just what I needed to pay that bill. And if you just can't deny that there's a higher power, like, hey, so like, just don't, I think one of the biggest practices that I'm truly working on is not worrying as much and
Mm.
just knowing what will be, and put my faith in that and just continue on the path and doing what I know is right. And that's the other thing, knowing the difference between right and wrong. Like, so many of us, we know the difference and we still do the wrong.
Mm.
Next question before I continue on my tangent.
What's the worst piece of life advice you've ever received?
Oh my gosh, cut carbohydrates because that's how you
Ha!
lose weight, or cut calories because that's how you lose weight. Yo, the weight loss space is so oversaturated with bad advice. Do keto, that's how you lose weight. Like, no, eat proper amount of macronutrients through whole foods, and that's how you lose weight and maintain weight, my friends. Like, you don't need to do any crazy diet. You can lose weight with your lifestyle if you're willing to eat whole foods and meet the proper macronutrients.
Amen. What's 3 words you would tell your younger self?
Ah, damn, that's a good one. This isn't forever. It'd be four. This moment's not forever. This isn't forever. Like, right now is not your forever. I think that we get so caught up in whatever we're going through in this moment that we forget that literally a year from now, 5 minutes from now, it probably won't matter. Like, whatever you're struggling with today is not your forever struggle if you're willing to get yourself out of it. Um, if you're willing to put effort forth in life and do more and be more and just show up. Like, let's just start showing up first, right? you won't struggle forever. This won't be your forever. I think that a lot of people get caught in thinking that right now is forever. Especially I would tell my high school self that, being bullied, having people be mean to you. Um, you think that that's just the end of all ends, but you don't realize you're not going to be friends with those people after high school. Like none of it matters, right?
Mm.
So I think that's the biggest thing, and I try to live by that. But this moment's not forever. These people are not permanent. Nothing is permanent.
This isn't forever. Fuck me. That has kicked me in the throat. Mate, that's fucking beautiful. And I just want to say thank you so much for your time. Like you're clearly a beautiful soul. So thank you for doing your thing, and slapping your fucking demons in the face with a wet salmon on a daily basis.
Likewise, Alex, thank you so much for having me. And I'm just going to ask the listeners, you guys, if you gained value from today's episode, please share it directly with a friend that could also gain value. That's how podcasts grow typically, is word of mouth, and your share really means the world to both of us. And I just appreciate you guys listening today.
Mate, that's fucking spot on. I appreciate that a lot.
Absolutely, Alex. And
We'll do
again,
part
thank
2.
you. I'm so ready already.
it's it's gonna be carnage.
Oh, it's gonna be great. Imagine like 6 months from now where we're gonna be just
Fuck no,
fucking
man.
leveling up in this game of life. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep. Who knows? I could be in the States. Who fucking knows? I don't know where
Come
I'm
on
gonna be.
over. Let's go.
What part of the States?
Well, I'm outside of Charlotte, North Carolina.
East side.
Yeah,
East side.
East Coast. Yeah,
I find it
it's
funny
nice
how
here.
everyone always goes the town and then the state. Obviously, it's a big place, right? But it's just so different to back home. I wouldn't be like Manchester, Northwest. It would just
Yeah,
be like,
it should.
it's Manchester.
No, you're not. I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, USA, US of A, America, full on American.
Yeah. Freedom.
Freedom! Fuck yeah! America!
Oh, fucking brilliant.
For real talk though. I'm a very proud patriot. I'm proud to be an American. Like hands down, I love living in this country, and I think it's a great place, and I feel privileged to get to live here.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, proud of it. But you have a rad day, Alex. Thank you. Thank
You
you
too,
for
pal.
your time.
All right. Thank you very much.
We'll chat soon.
Speak soon. Bye, everybody.